Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're skipping the usual preamble entirely because we really need to talk about a startling new reality in everyday healthcare. There is an invisible technological takeover happening right now in hospitals and clinics everywhere, and it's fundamentally changing how life or death decisions are made. We're not talking about some distant sci-fi future here. We are talking about systems that are already up and running, making calls about your health today. Okay, let's dive into this. 68%. Now, in the medical world, a massive majority percentage like this usually signifies a huge systemic shift. In this case, 68% represents an enormous group of women who might now safely avoid one of the most grueling medical treatments imaginable, chemotherapy. But how are we suddenly able to identify this exact group with such absolute confidence? Well, that brings us to a pretty heavy question. Who decides if you skip chemo? Historically, that's a deeply personal human decision. It's weighed carefully between you and your oncologist, and it's a choice packed with incredibly high stakes. But what if the voice in the room making that call isn't actually human at all? We're looking at a monumental shift in who, or what, holds the power at these life-altering medical crossroads. Section 1. AI's vote on chemo. The first FDA-cleared AI treatment decision. We've officially crossed a major threshold. On May 12th, the FDA officially cleared ArteraAI Breast. This is a massive milestone. It is literally the very first AI ever authorized specifically to help guide chemotherapy decisions for women with early-stage HR-positive, HER2-negative breast cancer. Basically, that means the cancer grows in response to hormones, but lacks a specific growth-promoting protein. And because it's the most common type of breast cancer out there, the impact here is absolutely huge. The AI does this by reading digital pathology slides to sort patients into high-risk or low-risk categories. To really understand how well it works, we just have to look at the trials. The AI analyzed a huge cohort of 12,000 patients. Out of that entire group, it identified that staggering 68% as low risk. And the results for those women? An estimated 10-year distant metastasis-free survival rate of roughly 95%. The data showed that the women in this low-risk group got essentially zero added benefit from chemotherapy. So thousands of women could finally be spared a grueling treatment they never actually needed in the first place. And I think this quote brilliantly illustrates the gravity of the shift. As one medical expert pointed out, this is not a triage flag. It's not some background administrative tool just doing paperwork. This is a direct input into the decision of whether you do chemo or not. It's the very first time the FDA has cleared an artificial intelligence to directly influence a treatment decision of this magnitude. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the tough, basically unanswered ethical dilemma it presents. What happens the very first time the AI says, skip the chemo, and the cancer comes back? Yes, the data is incredibly strong, but medicine isn't perfect. So who is accountable when the machine is wrong? Right now, that question hasn't really been answered, even as the technology is actively rolling out. Section 2. Beating the ER doctors. Harvard tests AI in the emergency room. Let's shift our focus a bit, moving from a specific cancer application to a broader look at everyday high-stakes care. A recent Harvard study that just published in the journal Science set up a really fascinating head-to-head match. On one side, you have OpenAI's O1 model. On the other side, real, practicing human emergency room doctors. And here's the kicker. The researchers did not clean up the data for the AI. They fed the AI the exact same messy, uncleaned electronic health records that the human doctors had to evaluate. The contrast in diagnostic accuracy here is completely stark. The AI model correctly diagnosed the real ER cases 67% of the time. The human doctors? Well, they trailed significantly, scoring 55% and 50%. So even in an unstructured, totally messy environment, the artificial intelligence straight up outperformed the trained medical professionals. And this brings us to a frankly wild admission from one of the study's co-authors. We're already at the ceiling. Human doctors might actually be at their absolute performance limit when it comes to synthesizing massive amounts of messy patient data quickly. If humans have hit their ceiling, well, the AI's eventual takeover in diagnostic settings isn't just possible anymore. It might literally be inevitable. Section 3. The AI physicians hide. The invisible tool used in 10,000 hospitals. So, while the FDA clearance and those Harvard studies are making all the headlines, there is a quiet revolution already deeply embedded in our medical system. Over 40%. That is a staggering statistic.
According to recent reports, over 40% of U.S. physicians spanning more than 10,000 hospitals are quietly running clinical questions through an AI called OpenEvidence every single day. NBC found doctors from Hawaii to Maine using it, yet most patients have absolutely no idea it even exists. And look, it's not just a basic search engine. It is backed by massive institutional credibility. OpenEvidence recently signed a strategic partnership with the Society of Surgical Oncology. And that stacks right on top of existing deals with the New England Journal of Medicine, JAMA, and others. So when your surgeon checks this AI before your operation, it is pulling from the exact same playbook written by the world's absolute top medical institutions and cancer surgeons. Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 4, Medicare's billion-dollar gamble, the federal push for AI patient management. The adoption of AI isn't just organic, It's being heavily incentivized at the absolute highest levels of government. Under the new 10-year Medicare Access Program launching on July 5th, we are seeing a huge shift in healthcare policy. The federal government is actively paying AI companies to manage real patients. But here's the catch. It operates on outcome-based payments, meaning the AI companies only get paid full price if the patients actually get healthier. Now, this program covers a really comprehensive list of everyday ailments, from diabetes to depression. But notice the unspoken risk here. Managing these conditions requires continuous monitoring of your most sensitive, private medical data. The federal government is essentially pushing massive amounts of patient data right into the hands of AI companies to drive these better outcomes. And believe me, the financial sector is fully aware of this shift. $4 billion, with a B. That is the amount of money digital health startups raised in just the first quarter of 2026 alone. Billions of dollars are flowing into building exactly these types of AI-driven healthcare management systems. The shift is so profound and complete that Rock Health, a group that's tracked digital health funding for over a decade, announced they're retiring their AI deal category entirely. I mean, think about what that means for a second. AI is now so deeply embedded into absolutely every single facet of healthcare that financial trackers can't even isolate it as a separate category anymore. When the trackers stop tracking it, the wave is already broken. Section 5. Coffee, brains, and trust. A palate cleanser and the ultimate question. Before we wrap up the explainer today, let's take a quick mental break with a lighter, highly actionable takeaway. A recent massive JAMA study followed over 130,000 people from more than 4 decades. And it found that those in the highest quartile of caffeinated coffee intake had an 18% lower risk of dementia compared to those who drank little to none. That is a significant, measurable benefit for your brain sitting right there in your morning mug. So the crucial point is the dosage. 2 cups, not 5. The study actually found that the protective effect of coffee plateaus early. Drinking more doesn't magically give you better protection. And importantly, no protective association was found for decaf. It really seems the caffeine itself is doing the heavy lifting to protect your brain over the long haul. All right, let's snap back to the core theme of our explainer today. We've seen that AI is outperforming doctors, quietly assisting surgeons, and being heavily funded by Medicare to manage chronic diseases. So I want to end by directing this provocative question right at you. If an AI told you that you could safely skip chemotherapy, would you honestly trust it? Where does your personal comfort level sit with this invisible takeover? Do you say yes, trusting that the FDA clearance is enough? Do you need a human doctor to agree with the machine first? Do you reject it entirely, opting for the grueling but known safety of chemo? Or does it just depend on the specific cancer and the data? AI is being woven deeper into clinical decisions every single day. The technology is here, it is making the calls, and the only question left is how much of your life you're willing to hand over to it. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll leave you to ponder your answer.